Hey guys, welcome back to Big Loss Official. As you can see today, I have a very special guest, two-time America's Strongest Man and one of the most exciting new names on the pro strongman circuit, Lucas Hatton. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me for the absolute first time.
Guys, I have to, full disclosure, we were just chatting, like deep into the conversation and realized I hadn't hit record. So
Yes.
had a great chat already, Lucas.
So for the second time, we're gonna go into the Arnold and what we're feeling about it.
Yeah, and for the second time, I'm going to make you watch your Big Loz big introduction. So here we
Perfect.
go, because it's the first time for everyone else.
Yeah.
Lucas Hatton is a true rising star in the sport and making his way to the Arnold Strongman Classic stage for the first time in 2025. The two-time winner of America's Strongest Man had a breakthrough year on the pro scene in 2024, placing third at the Arnold's UK, second at North America's Strongest Man, and third at the Strongest Man on Earth.
There we go. The second time's a charm anyway,
Yes.
Lucas.
Yes, it was.
So I was looking at your competition history on the Strongman archives, and actually you've had a really incredible run recently. You haven't been off a podium since 2022.
Yeah, I think what the show that broke that streak, it would actually be longer than that. I got a fourth at OSG back in
Yeah.
2022, and at OSG that might as well be 10th because it's not didn't get a qualifier. But I think I might actually have the longest podium streak of any pro that isn't Mitch. I think so. So I got a long way to go. He competes a ton, and I'll never compete as much as he does.
No.
But I still got it rolling, and that's a huge goal for this Arnold is just keep that going. And I think it's a good set of events to do that. The career has like a lot of people like you came out of nowhere. To me, it feels like I've kind of just slowly climbed. I've missed out on opportunities, which at the time I was mad about. But I think like, let's say I made the Arnold Classic last year, which I almost did. I don't think I was ready for that show. But I was ready for the Arnold UK, and then I was ready for North America's, and I was ready for by that time the Strongest Man on Earth, right? Like if I would have gotten those opportunities maybe a year sooner, I don't think I would have done as much with them. I I think a lot of guys like when they're planning out their career, trying to do their thing, they're all so excited about I need to earn that invitation, and they put no thought into what am I going to do with it when I get there. And I
Yeah.
think I got to most of those invitations at the right time, whether it was dumb luck or planning. And it's just been an awesome year. And I couldn't even, if you would have told me I would have done those things, I would have like, no way I would have done that. So it's been a crazy year, and I'm just excited to be at my first Arnold because I grew up watching the Arnold, and I still, when I'm bored, watch Arnold classics from the past. So it's crazy that I'm going to be on that stage.
Yeah, no, it's one of my favorites too. So you were on the Arnold UK stage last year. You
Mhm.
made the podium there. Did that give you confidence that you'd get the invitation this year, or was it still a bit of a nervy wait for you?
Like me and Jan Todd had a conversation post UK. I think I had a couple performances over there that seemed to impress her.
Mhm.
Mainly that dumbbell performance, did well on the Austrian Oak, pulled an irresponsible amount of reps on deadlift to the point where I couldn't sit down when we were at the bar after the show. I
Ooh.
messed up my back to podium at that show. Um, but Jan made it sound like I was going to get invited to Ohio, but there's a lot of season between now and then. Um, so I was excited, hopeful, pretty sure, but you never know until the invite actually hits your inbox. And I'm the same way with the other major shows this year. I'm invited to Strongest Man on Earth. I heard nothing from Worlds, heard nothing from Rogue, which not many people have. I'm sure no one's heard anything from Rogue at this point, right?
No,
It's
no
so
one will.
early, but I'm hopeful for all of those shows. But
Yeah,
you're nervous until it hits. You actually get the inbox notification. So I was
of
still a
course.
bit emotional when I got it because you never know when you start out strongman, you never think I'm gonna compete at the Arnold one day. And it's like we're competing at the Arnold in like 5 weeks. It's crazy.
I know. It's insane. And that America's Strongest Man was a qualifier for Giants Live now, isn't it?
Mhm.
And I just can't see how that wouldn't translate into a World's Strongest Man invitation. Like,
Mhm.
how could they deny that you're one of the top Americans? You will be one of the petitions if that invitation does not come through.
Sure,
I don't think the
sure.
strongman fandom would stand for it.
Yeah,
There'd be
I
many riots.
I I hope that the body of work says let's go to World's Strongest Man. But especially if they do actually reduce to 25, which have we confirmed that, or yes, probably doing that.
Yeah,
Like
I think they have confirmed it. Yeah.
so I think actually reducing to 25, there's a potential to go back to this invitation system as it's designed, like actually using Giants Live as the qualifying system with less guys, like with just less invites to go around. You know, you have your auto qualifiers or whatever they've done to get there. The last ones, I don't necessarily have a problem with them going back to like you got to go through Giants Live to get to Worlds. You
Yeah.
talk to a couple of like the maybe like one generation back of the American guys, they refer to it as like that's how it just should be because that's how it was for them. It wouldn't be that weird to just go back to the system. So if Giants was to tell me you got to go to Giants first, it's not the craziest thing ever.
No.
But I think I should go to Worlds. I you know I'd like to. I think I mean I'm pretty sure I'm at that level.
You're definitely one of the top 25.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's just you know I've never done a giant show. I've haven't done OSG since 2022. I just haven't been in their competitive system. So I get it. It is what it is. And I'm prepping for the Arnold. We've been doing laying some groundwork for potential like the kinds of stuff you see at Worlds. I'll be ready if I get invited, but if I don't, I understand it, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The thing is, though, like I agree. Like I like a qualifying system and a really clear route in, but it's flawed in as much as you get a lot of repeat athletes podiuming at these competitions. So it does still leave quite a lot of space for invites, wildcards, etc. So you absolutely deserve one of those, I think. But that's all right. We'll have the petition ready to go. But I really don't think it's going to be needed. Anyway, we are here to talk about the Arnold Strongman Classic, and let's get into the events again, starting with the elephant bar deadlift. Now, you hit 300. I'm so sorry, I don't know it in pounds. 388 kilos at the strongest man on earth. But you had your next rep disallowed, didn't you?
Yes.
The thumb.
The thumb rule. I had a very convincing. I think it was like 401, 402. I was just chipping a couple guys that were at 400 that had attempted 400. So I smoked that rep, but I got disallowed on the thumb. I think me and Alec took a little too big of a swing to try to chip more guys. We went for 932, which I don't know what that is in kilos. That would have been like a 6 or 7 point, maybe a 5 or 6 point jump. If I would have hit that 932, would have been a massive PR. Because in the gym, I never pulled anything over 860. But we knew that I could. But Alec wanted to call like 915, and I was like 932. That's 3 more points, and I pulled it 99% of the way to lockout. I didn't get it. It's as close as you can get without getting it. So we took a shot. So we know that my deadlift max is higher than advertised, but we have no idea what it really is. I think we're going to end this prep, our last pull, right around 400 kilos to 900 pounds. We usually don't try to pull anything big in the gym, knowing that I have, 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50 more kilos in me at the show. So I'm going to be really fighting for that mid nines. Just there's a couple people I'm trying to chase to chip on that event, but I'm not going to be chasing the lead pack for sure.
No, it's been interesting though, the results on the elephant bar these last couple of years. Like Thor is the standout favorite, but a lot of the other guys, they're not putting up massive numbers, are they? Like it's definitely easy to get, I think, into maybe even 3rd or 4th place based on the numbers that we've seen over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I think there's the notion because the bar is longer and it's different that it's easier. And the numbers don't really reflect that at all.
No, they really
maybe maybe in the years where it was like Jerry and JF and all those guys pulling north of 1,000, but I think you put those same guys in that same era on a competition standard bar with kilo plates, they're probably pulling similar weights. It's different. I don't think it's easier.
No, I agree.
The elephant bar isn't too much farther ahead of the other, raw pull. I think we'll see pretty similar results to like what we saw at Rogue or the World Deadlift Championships, and just plug and play a couple guys that weren't there, and that's what it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a huge shakeup on that event.
Yeah, like speaking to Loz, who knows his bars, he says like with the longer bar, it does bend a little bit more on the ends, but actually in the center, no much more than a regular deadlift bar. So for that reason, he has his athletes train on a normal stiff bar, because it's not super whippy as sometimes advertised. Or people assume.
Yeah, and I've asked around with a couple guys that have done the show before, and like basically the consensus was we tried all kinds of weird ways to simulate the elephant bar, and the best thing that they could find was just be strong at good positions of deadlifting,
Yeah.
and you will be fine on the elephant bar on the day. Like
Yeah.
doing the actual bar isn't the end of the world. Of course, Thor has one, so why not? But but for the
I thought there was only one in existence, like the Arnold's one, the mythical Arnold's one. Trust Thor to have
I
one.
Well, he says on the elephant bar. I don't know if it's a direct replica or the closest thing he could find.
Yeah.
I don't know if Brian has one either.
Oh,
I
he's
want to
bound
say
to.
I want to say I've heard that Brian has one as well. But yeah, who knows? Like I don't know if it's much different at all. I have a pretty methodical, controlled pulling style off the floor. So if that bar ends up being easier for me, it wouldn't shock me. But I'm anticipating it'll just feel like deadlifting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So moving on to event number 2, then this must be one that you're excited for, the overhead gauntlet. Now we've seen from your results, you're good at every single type of overhead, it would appear.
Mhm.
Did you win the log at the Arnold UK last year?
Tied it with Mitch. We
You
both
tied for
we
first
both
place.
missed our fourth rep. We didn't have the
Oh
gas to
yeah,
do it.
that's right.
Yeah.
But that was the same log, wasn't it? The
Yep.
195 kilo Austrian oak.
Mhm.
So what do you think is possible? Like, you've got a longer time limit, haven't you? It's 2 minutes in total, but you do have those 2 implements to get through first.
Yeah. I think for anyone who's actually in the hunt to be competitive on this event, those two are just a formality. They're not going to be anything crazy. I think the positions of the stone press are a bit uncomfortable, and they do kind of take the wind out of you. Like if you've
Mhm.
ever done like block press or anything like that, it just takes the wind out of you. So I think the person that like paces themselves well and just has good technique on those two, it's almost like they didn't happen. I think with this time limit and the guys getting in better pressing shape, I think the winning mark again is about 3. I don't
Yeah.
know if 4 is possible. Trey's the only one that standalone has done 4 reps.
Mhm.
Bobby nearly did in the past. I think he got disallowed a rep or something. So 4 on its own is possible, but I think with the buy-ins, I think 3 with an appropriate like decent split time is going to be the leading mark. Even two with some kind of decent speed is going to be awesome points, I think. So
Yeah. Agree. When you consider a lot of the guys might not even get that heavier log in the first place.
no, and I think there's guys that can hit it as a single in the gym, and they're like, "I'm going to do it." And
Yeah.
it's like, "No, you're not."
No.
I think you're going to clean it to the chest, and it's going to punch you in the mouth. I think it's like if you're the kind of person that any day of the week could smoke like 450 to 460, then okay, yes. But if you're like, I hit 430 once in the gym, like you probably shouldn't do the big log. Yeah,
There you go. Sound
yeah,
advice for anyone
yeah.
listening. Okay, so moving on to the last event of day number 1, and we have the timber carry, a very iconic Arnold's event. How is your training going for this one?
Pretty good. I had kind of some nerve issues in the hands in the last year and a half. I think it's pretty similar to what Brian was dealing with in the past when Shaw was sleeping on his hands and his just hands weren't working well. So I kind of followed some of that advice that he's put out about that. Um, and I'm a guy who's put on a lot of size as I've grown in this sport. So it's just a lot of learning as I gain size, lose size, gain strength, change habits. But I think we're over the hill with that issue with my hands.
Okay.
Since Strongest Man on Earth, I've been setting just huge grip PRs. I had no issue on the wheelbarrow at Strongest Man on Earth, no issue on the rope. Usually grabbing an arm over arm rope is something I just can't do. And I did great at Strongest Man on Earth. So I'm very hopeful. We've done some new things with grip training. I'm about 60% confident that my hands can hold up the ramp. I know my legs and just the ability to go fast. I for sure can do that. It'll just come down to can my hands stay closed, and I'm mostly sure I can. So I think I'll be in the mix. I'm not thinking I'm going to set some kind of record on it, but I think I'll be in the upper part of the group that finishes or gets real close.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause, I mean, we're used to seeing just 3 or 4 guys tops really finishing
Mhm.
this, but oh man, wouldn't it be something? I know there's going to be some guys that won't finish, but wow, I shouldn't say it. Poor Trey. Trey, I hope it's going well, your training. But I don't anticipate every single guy finishing, but
Mhm.
potentially we could see more than ever before.
Yeah, I mean, even guys like I don't think people are really like remembering how good of a grip Austin has.
Yeah,
He smoked the frame, a very similar frame at World's Strongest Man.
he did.
Um, yeah, a lot of these, I think you're right. I think the highest percentage of the guys ever can finish.
Yeah.
So it turns into a bit of a drag race. It's a different thing. In the past, it was like this is a giant grip test, and now I think people have kind of figured this thing out, and it's going to
Mm.
be just a drag race at the top.
Oh, be interesting to see. But
Yes.
moving on to day number 2, the first event there is the one I think we could collectively agree most people are very excited to see you in particular on. It's the big jerk. Now, your training has been looking absolutely
Mhm.
epic. You posted 500 pounds for 3 reps the other day. Looked very comfortable as well. What
Mhm.
what do you think is possible? So before, when we were talking, the unrecorded chat, you you told me that we don't know if we're allowed to say. I'll say it so you're not the one that gets into trouble.
Sure.
There has been a change, and you guys are now going to be limited to 4 lifts each
Mhm.
because logistically, with 12 women, 11 men, if everyone went out as many times as they wanted to, and we do have some quite tight time restraints, it sounds like.
Mhm.
So now strategy's coming into it more. I'm a bit sad because I like that rising bar where people can jump in, but
Yeah.
I get it as well.
Yeah, and the other part of it too is if we're going off the blocks, I am barely 6 feet tall, and Thor and Tom exist.
I was
Um,
wondering about this. So it's not going to be adjustable. Surely they're not going to be adjusting it between each athlete, are they?
well,
I don't know.
I hope they should,
Well,
because
you would hope.
or
Hey, you might be locked out already
I might be
getting
locked
under
out
it.
already, or Thor is doing a good morning to get the bar up. If Steve Slater's watching this, you could build. I think Strongman Court built something similar that adjusted their Viking press up and down. They had a bottle jack that adjusted the jerk blocks up and down. I think that might be a good idea, Steve. You got a couple weeks, but I'm sure he's on top of stuff. Like I'm sure
Yeah,
Steve has a plan. But I think just adjusting things like jerk blocks, potentially putting the bar back up on the stands. There's a lot of little things that are just going to take time. So I think it's a smart choice to go to 4. And then it just becomes a really cool, there's a new layer of like gamesmanship that comes into it with 4 attempts.
yeah,
So it'll be really similar to like that last 2 or 3 rounds or 2 rounds of the elephant bar where the
mhm,
games start to come out, like who's going to ship who. So I think it'll still be fun. I prefer the old format, but they just don't have time for it. So.
yeah. No, it makes sense. Um, I mean, I think realistically, it's probably going to be a battle between you and Mitch. Tom's
Mhm,
not posting much, but I fully expect him to be in there as well.
mhm.
But what do you think is possible? Obviously, you're a bit more limited now, so maybe that means we're not going to see as big numbers of people making slightly safer jumps.
Yeah, I think it comes down to how many guys are still in around 500 pounds, um, and
Yeah.
like how good the setup in the back is for warmups, right?
Mm.
Are we on if we have like a good setup for warmups and I can come out when I want to, I think I'm going to come out pretty late,
Yeah.
um, and I think Mitch will too. Um, but it kind of comes down to we got to score points. My goal on that event is to score 11 points,
Yeah.
and Mitch is going to be prepared. His technique's getting better. He's the most explosive athlete, and he doesn't make stupid jumps. So
No.
there's going to be some games there, but I fully anticipate I can get 11 points if I just execute. I think there's a potential just based on Tom and Singleton looks good, Trey looks good, me and Mitch look good. I hope it pushes into the mid fives because I think people are referencing the Flintstone bar at Worlds,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's even close to the potential of this event. Um, the other sport that does this lift, weightlifting, like most of the world class open guys to just chip shot 550 on this lift.
Yeah.
And like strongmen are nowhere close to the best of this lift, but I think this batch of guys can get close to that 550 to 600 range, and I'd love to have a chance to do it.
Yeah.
Because I think I can. I think I can get around that 600 mark. The heaviest ever done, I think, is 606,
Is
and
that
that would
like
be
270 kilos? Is it
275. There's a
275? Yeah.
there's a 21-year-old that just did it.
That's
Um,
insane, isn't it?
and he's just a young weightlifter that's killing everybody. But then there's guys in training that have done that weight, like Kuklaev has done it, Joe Kovacs has done it. So
Yeah.
it's just there's been big weight done on this lift, but it's not a lift that's typically contested. So people don't really even have a good reference of what's possible. But I think getting into the upper half of 500 would be a really cool way to bring this event to the Arnold stage. Like that's my hope. I hope it's not like in the lower half of 500 and like we did enough to win and we're done. That would suck. I want to push this thing.
Yeah, I want a war. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be in it, but I want to watch one.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. So moving on to event number 2 of day 2 is the trial by timber. Now, this is a slightly weird one, isn't it? Because we haven't seen any pictures or drawings or anything of what that's going to look like yet. But we've got a decent description of a log with a longish raised handle that you guys are going to be carrying into a heavy drag. So how have you been training this one?
I've got the old IFSA farmers in the gym. I think if you've watched Erin Murray's Instagram, she's been training with them. So I think that's a good reference just to simulate some kind of like horizontal handle carry. We've also been carrying just normal logs. Mainly been just training a bunch of reverse drags because I think the event is going to come down to that. I don't think any of the guys are going to have trouble, unless I'm wrong, carrying those logs. I think that's just a buy-in for the real event. The real event is going to be a sled drag on a floor with the floor surface changes everything, right?
Yeah.
So who knows whether if the floor surface is wrong with the sled, it'll be a drag race. If the floor surface is wrong in the other direction, which I hope it's kind of on the other side where it's just almost too heavy. I think that's a much more fun event, and it fits the mold of the Arnold. Like I'd love it to be a third of the guys finish and they're hurting to do it. Like I hope that that's what happens, but you got to be ready for a fast pull or a heavy pull, or maybe both. So I think it's gonna be fun. I'm really happy Steve's trying something new, and I hope it ends up okay. I on paper it could be really fun. So.
Have you gone back and looked at the last couple of Arnolds and tried to study the floor?
Yeah, so I've competed at the Amateur Arnold a few years now. I think I did it 2 or 3 times. And there was one year where we competed on the actual Strongman arena.
Yes, I remember.
It's a pretty slick floor. So
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, so I have no idea. I
want some grippy shoes.
Yeah, I've got some ideas on what to do. I'm going to try a couple of things, but you never know until we're out there. So I think it's such a fun event 5 because it's like a lot of these events you can be like, this is your lead pack. And on this event, it's like, could be anybody. Like,
Nick, some of the guys
could win this event. Right. Matthews, Thor, Hooper, me, like anybody could do it. So I think it's a super cool way to like send us into the last event.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's not abnormal to see some of the guys that aren't the biggest lifters on the power events do really well on events like this. But it's definitely all going to boil down to that drag, I think. Like people like Thor are always going to have a massive advantage having so much weight to put into it, aren't they? But
yeah, it's like I know on paper I have pretty close to the strongest legs in the show, but I have for sure the shortest strides.
Oh yeah, little legs. No, they call you large legs, don't they?
Yeah, but they're not long.
No, I have similar issues. Little legs, all body.
Yes, 100%. So I gotta push hard, and I gotta do like real, Flintstone feet.
I can't wait to see those little legs move.
I know. I'm hopeful in that event. It's like training's going great, but you never know till you're on the real thing.
No, of course.
Yeah.
So something else that's really interesting. Now you've had Martins down to dungeon strength and going through some stone to shoulder lifting. Now Martins has traveled the world and learned about all these interesting types of lifts from experts in the field, I guess. But it looks like that was an event that was going well for you anyway. So do you feel that having that time with Martins has been beneficial? Are you changing anything?
Yeah. No, I completely changed the top end of my technique a little bit, just how the hands transition and all that. So just a couple subtle things, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to like who can really grip and who has the strength to do that second, third, fourth super heavy extension. I don't think people are going to fail on this little transition. They're going to fail. They just won't have the gas or the grip. And when I'm failing reps in training, that's where I'm failing. And I think that'll be most guys. As I fully anticipate, these are going to be some fresh Slater stones that are going to be slick, even with good tactile. It's going to be really hard, and that's how it should be. It's the Arnold, but who knows? I could see 5 reps winning. I could see 1 rep winning. Right? It just depends on how the stone is.
Yeah, I don't believe in a good tactile, to be honest. Like not when it comes to these types of weights. at
Sure.
this point in the competition as well, after everything you've done already. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah, you can have all the plans in the world, but you go down and touch that stone, that's when you'll really figure it out.
yeah,
But Trey Mitchell exists, and
he does.
that man, I think the rule in his gym is, I think Nick said it, it's up until 440. You're not allowed to put tacky on anything.
Oh, okay.
So Trey has been inadvertently training for this forever. So
He's been
so
training his whole life for this moment.
for this moment. So we might be in trouble with Trey on that event, and Matus and everybody. So it's gonna be fun. I fully think if the train keeps going well, I could be in the top half of that event, maybe even further up the list. But it's such a X factor event. You don't know how it's gonna go. And
Yeah.
those last two events, so that's what's gonna make this show so exciting. Like I think 3 or 4 events are really easy to predict. The last 2, we have no idea. So the show's just gonna be blown out of the water in those last 2.
Yeah. And a lot of it's going to boil down to what's at stake at that point as well. For guys sort of knocking on the door of the podium, or a guy who's like 10 points behind the next guy in front of him is like, oh, fuck it. Like, I'm dying now.
Yeah,
So,
like, do I want to do this third stone? Probably not.
do I
Yeah,
even
so
want to be here?
we'll see. Because I think the Arnold prize, not mistaken, the Arnold prize money drops off a little more than like Rogue and Strongest Man on Earth. So you do see guys in like 8th, 9th, 10th kind of shut it down at the Arnold towards the end, which it's really heavy, and Worlds is like 6 weeks later, so I don't blame anybody.
No, that's fair. It's very exciting though, Lucas. There's a lot of buzz about you online, and rightly so as well. I think you're definitely someone that people fully expect to be challenging, at least for a podium position. But man, it's the likes of Mitch Hooper, who's just winning everything. Thor Bjornsson, he's got some very good events here. Tom, we just don't know. Like, we don't know what shape Tom's in right now, but we know he's got on paper some incredible events here. So I think it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. I love it. I can't wait.
Yes,
I do.
100%. And it's just such a cool mix of events, and like, it's so funny after Strongest Man on Earth. Because I got the third, and a couple like fans or friends are like, "You got to go beat Mitch and Thor now." I'm like, they had 20, and then respectively 30 points ahead of me. That's a lot of. We got to go get them. But I'm chipping away. I think looking at this set of events and these guys, like I think this is my best shot at fighting for an actual win that I've had. But they're still the heavy favorites. But I think this will be the closest best chance I've had so far. So I'm excited for the challenge. It's gonna be fun.
No, it's going to be awesome. Right, before I let you go then, we have your game. Now, I'm trying to keep things fresh and mix them up. So you have a Guess the Strongman game. Okay? So you're going to see bits of a strongman. Don't worry, not that bits. You've got to guess who it is. Are you ready? So there's 10 in total.
Okay.
I tested Loz earlier just to check the difficulty. He got 8.
Okay. I feel like my weak category, if you go in like the 90s, the 90s and the 80s, I'm gonna suck.
All current guys.
All current. Okay, I got a better shot at this.
Yeah, not trying to stress you, Lucas, at this point in your prep. I just want you to have a good time. Are you ready?
Yes. Okay. I'll give it a shot.
His athlete number 1.
Is that an extreme close-up of Bish?
Yes, it is. Adam Bishop. Not the most flattering picture of him, but it is Adam Bishop. Well done. There we go. 1 out of 1. You'll definitely get this next one.
That is mustache-free Novikov.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes.
Looking quite sultry, actually.
Yes.
2 out of 2. Right. Whose lovely Barnet is this?
That is the top of Tom Stoltman's head. Or no. That's either Gav Bilton or Tom Stoltman.
I'm gonna have to ask you to commit to one. Look at the hairline.
That's Gav Bilton.
It is Gav Bilton.
Yes,
well done. Very good.
There we go.
Nice
I almost pulled the trigger on Tom.
Right. I fully expect you to get this next one.
That is Brian Shaw.
That is Brian Shaw. I'm trying to keep it interesting with the bits that I use. Right. What about number 5?
What's funny is the thing that's giving it away is the dog tag. That's Evan Singleton.
The damn dog tag. I cropped it at the wrong point. Yeah, that is Evan. Loz didn't get that one. How surprising.
I could see someone maybe saying a skinny Eddie on that one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. What about this one? He didn't get this one either.
Well, that's interesting. The eyes make me think Gabe Pena, but he's not a Cerberus athlete.
Is that a Cerberus? Oh, it is, isn't it?
It is. It is.
What's that say on there? By Jink? Junk?
Junk. Oh, that's not Gabe. Is that Gabe Pena?
It is Gabe Pena.
Yes,
Very
okay.
good.
Why-
Well done.
Taking off his evolution stuff.
He used to be a Cerberus athlete.
Yeah, he has such a long career doing things.
There
So
we
yeah.
go. Right, number 7. Whose distinguished forehead is this?
That's Maxime Boudreau.
That is Maxime's head. They're going to be watching this like, what the hell? Right, just to mix it up a bit.
Oh, that's messed up. You said this is recent?
Recent-ish.
Oh, the tattoo. I thought that was a like pec tear
No,
bruise.
it's not an injury. I wouldn't do that.
Whose tattoo is that? It's like a lion, or a bear.
Is that going to help you?
I don't know. I have no idea who this is.
I would focus more on the snazzy clothing. I think the snazziness.
Snazziness. Is that like a silverback jersey?
Don't actually know.
I don't know. I'm going with Thor.
That is his wideness. Wide Pavlo Nekonechny.
Oh, Nekonechny. Okay. his wide
European attire.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I understand
All
that
right.
now.
It's your first fail. You're doing great. Only 2 more to go. Charming smile.
That's Kordiaka.
No, that's Spencer
Nope.
Remick.
That's Spencer Remick. No.
That's Spencer. God. I tried to throw in quite a few Americans for you, just to give you a fighting chance. Okay, so you're on.
Hey, you go
7 out of
the
9.
Americans. We look exactly the same right here.
To be fair, you all do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for the occasional dog tag and stuff.
Yes.
Right. Final one. I'm sure you're going to get this one.
That is a slightly younger Trey Mitchell.
Yes, a lovely doe-eyed Trey. How
Yes.
nice. There we go.
All right, I tied with Laws.
Yeah, you did tie with Lars. You
Yes.
got different ones wrong to him. He got Pavlo straight away. Well, who didn't he get? He didn't get Evan, and he didn't get Gabe. That's right.
Yes.
There we go.
Not bad.
Well,
Gotta be.
Thank you so much for joining me in my silliness, Lucas. And I'm so sorry about the issue we had earlier.
Oh, good.
We've been sat here for hours. But I've had lots of fun chatting to you. It's been nice to get to know you better as well, because out of all the guys, you're definitely the one I know the least. So it's been nice. And
Yes.
really excited to see you at the Arnolds and see what you can do this year.
I appreciate you taking the time. It's been fun.
No, not at all. So I'm going to link your YouTube channel below, because you put out lots of great content, training, and also chit chat as well. And we all love a little bit of strongman chit chat. So guys, make sure if you're not already, you go and subscribe to. It is just Lucas Hatton, isn't it?
It's Hatton Strength.
Hatton
You'll find.
Strength.
I think you'll find it with Lucas Hatton too. There's nobody else on there that's Lucas Hatton. It probably should just be Lucas Hatton.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. We're going to link it anyway, so it's not an
Yeah.
issue.
Cool.
But guys, thank you once again for tuning in. Make sure if you're not already, you go and subscribe to Lucas's channel, and we will catch you again on the next one.